God damn it. All right, here we go, boys and girls. It's record time.
Nice. Very good. Great intro. Blowing it.
Sometimes there's too many buttons. Anytime, it's hard to be like a co-host and a producer, all these things at once. So sometimes we press the wrong button, and
I got to tell you, personally, I like it when there's like a little fumble. Because that like 5 seconds of like mistake right there before it happened, it's priceless.
I think anyone who knows me knows that royally ruining things is part of my process into creating greatness. So, it wouldn't be right if I didn't mess it up. I mean, I'm the guy who has a perfectly mint guitar, sells it over list price. It has a matte finish, and I put a cleaner on it, and now I make it glossy. Yeah, I'm that guy.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
Way to go.
James told me it was all right. He lied.
I did no such thing.
That's not entirely honest what I said. So I got something exciting coming next week, Record Talkers. We're going to have a custom intro screen. No more the 30-second countdown. We're having a special customized 30-second countdown being made by someone in Bangladesh at the moment. So get ready. It's coming.
How come I can't hear you guys in my ears? I can only hear you on my computer. What's that about?
You have to plug the headphones in, maybe. Did you hear what I said? Be excited. That was cool, I thought.
I'm excited.
It is cool.
Concentrating on this, though. My headphones are in. Damn you.
Okay.
Big audience right now. So, woo! Here we go.
Big audience? You being what the hell? I can't hear anything.
No, I hear you.
We can hear you. You sound different, though. Your computer audio. You're not going through an interface.
Not going through you, yeah. You're a wizard. Come on, you can do
You're
it.
a wizard, Harry. Yeah, it's not even recognizing the box right now.
Oh, Billy.
Try this. I may lose you guys.
Okay. So in the meantime, Rob, do you want to move on to the thing? There, that thing.
What's in the? Oh, Billy. What's in the? Oh, Billy.
I like these black mixes, man. DJ Bobby B, here we go. Let's try. What's up? What are we drinking, kids? What do we got in the glass? Hopefully it's a nice Ecto Cooler.
Can you hear me
Speaking of Ecto Cooler, okay, wait. First, I shook 1 ounce of Evan Williams over some ice. It looks a lot less than I thought it was going to, and it's nice and cold because it's kind of hot in my house. So cheers. That's what I'm drinking. Did I say house?
My house.
You're just definitely Southwesterner now.
Yeah.
Oh no! It happened.
It did.
It happened.
No, you get
You're gonna start saying y'all and stuff like that.
No.
Y'all come down to my house.
I think something came out funny, and you guys are running with it. But I am not Southern.
Yes, your accent came out funny. That's what it was.
Nicely played, brother.
What are you guys drinking? Jesus.
I guess it's my turn then.
That was for Sunday.
Oh, sorry. Drinking peach oolong tea in my wonderful Szechuan dipping sauce mug.
Nice.
Cheers. Yeah.
That sounds good.
So I was, what movie is it? I can't remember. Oh, that Loki show that's going to be on the next Marvel series. A lot of the guys from Rick and Morty,
nice.
I don't watch the show. But a lot of guys from that show are making that show, so it's going to have similarities.
Oh, nice.
Is it going to be the same universe, you think? Or
I watched like 2 episodes. What's that, James?
Is it going to be the same universe because the same production team, or they'll separate it enough?
Like a lot of like the time travel elements and stuff. I've only seen 2 episodes of that show. I didn't like it that much. I think I could. I wasn't. Yeah.
You weren't there.
I wasn't there.
Well, that's
I got you.
2 strikes for today. That's awesome.
I didn't even strike the first strike. You get ready. I got bombs. So I'm drinking a Zoa Cola here. This is the obviously I've had a great time with it because I've smashed it on my head, but the zero sugar is so much better than the sugared one. I don't know why anyone would want to drink 1,000 calories of sugar when you can have this zero sugar, aka full of chemical. The super berry is much more delicious than the coconut one, which tastes like sunscreen.
So there's nothing healthy about these.
Sure there is. Excuse me. Let's clarify. 100% daily value of vitamin C, B, and D vitamins, antioxidants, electrolytes, amino acids, and camu camu, which has more vitamin C than anything. I put camu camu powder in my shakes in the morning.
Nice.
I wonder if I've now overdosed on camu. All right.
Too much could be a bad thing.
Yep. So that's what I
System
have.
shutting down.
Oh, no, it's the opposite. System is revved up. So that's what we're drinking, guys. We appreciate you tuning in here for this record talk. You know, as we coming into the beautiful days of April.
April Chicago Music Exchange. What's that about? I just noticed that.
Oh, hey, look at that. They
Showing the Chi-Town love.
represent. I bought a guitar from them, and they sent me a T-shirt because I'm so terrible. You want to hear a quick story, kids? Ready?
Absolutely.
Okay, so they had a guitar for sale. It was a used guitar, and it was like a let's say it was like a $500 guitar, and I bid $400, and they came back at $225. Now they meant to say $425, but they had a mistake, so I immediately bought it at $225. And then they write me back like, "Oh, it was an error, blah blah blah," and I'm like, "No, hold on a second. I lost out on the other thing that I was bidding on. So you better give me this at the deal." So like, "Oh, we're losing money, blah, blah." I said, "I really don't care. You're a giant store in Chicago. You're huge. You're beautiful. You do a big business. I'm a little guy in New York. What can you do for me?" So we went back and forth, and I got the guitar for $300, which is well below cost, and a free T-shirt.
Only you.
I've
Only
seen-
you. Only you.
Sold it on Reverb for $500, so it's all good.
I do have to say, you know, like normally I would understand the side of like, oh well, we're gonna lose money on it. You typed the number, man, not me.
Did it? How do you make that mistake? You have one
I
job.
hate to tell you, if it was something that I really wanted and somebody made that flip of a key, I would fight that tooth and nail to get that deal.
Oh,
If it was something that I was like, oh man, if it was only a little bit cheaper, I would fight for days to get what I want.
Yeah, no, and they did the right thing, and I respect them, and their story is beautiful. And when I do come visit you, Brian, at some point, we're definitely going there.
Oh yeah.
You're gonna have to.
I think if I'm not mistaken,
car or in New York.
I think Rob Scallon is a Chicago YouTuber, Chicago guitar playing YouTuber. I think he frequents that store.
That's
think I could be wrong. I know he goes to a big music store in Chicago. That's not a Guitar Center; it's a private place.
I got hip to them because when I interviewed Richard Fortis, he told me that he had like sold like 150 of his guitars to them, and then they were going to be selling them. Like, so I'm constantly looking like, cool, like that'd be fun to get a touch at.
Yeah.
Today. Oh, how's the weather in Chicago? You guys got warm? It's beautiful this week.
Yeah, it's beautiful here. It's hot.
Hot.
Buns. Sure, it'll drop to 30 again. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
Now it's just rain until through the whole weekend apparently. So good times. Good times.
Cool.
Gentlemen, let's broaden our minds.
So today we're talking about Tool. It's a record. I mean, it's a band. And this is their first record, Brian? Tell me.
Yeah, it's first record, first full-length debut album, Undertow.
I was gonna say it is the first full length because Opiate was an EP before this, right?
That is correct. I'm glad you brought that up. Opiate was the EP prior to that.
What's up, vinyl?
I don't have anima. I don't know how you say it.
Not for nothing. That Opiate vinyl looks like crisp. It looks very, very perfect.
That's first press, right?
Like
I was trying to figure that out today, so I don't know. It's hard to tell. I don't know if they are. First press goes for a lot of money. I don't think that they are. I don't think so.
But like the sleeve looked really, really good. Like you care about that.
Oh yeah, I take very good care of. Yeah, absolutely. This is double. So it's side A, B, C, and D. So D is completely for disgustipated. Yeah.
That's probably even, I mean, we'll probably get to the song, as we're going on, but that's probably like a bonus if you listen to Disgustipated on one whole side of vinyl because so much of it is so quiet
15
that you get
minutes.
like the record noise thrown into it for like a good measure. That's probably even better.
It's great. Yeah, it's great. I did find today because I was curious. I was trying to solve it and I never got to finish it, but I was trying to figure out like, is it first pressing? Is it a repressing? Either way, it's just cool to have it on there. But I did find someone selling a promo copy of Undertow gray. So the rib cage is gray. It's off center, so it's all over here. So you only see part of the rib cage. It's one vinyl. I believe it's one vinyl. Maybe it's two.
Oh, it's a rib cage?
Gray vinyl. What's that?
There's a rib cage?
Yeah, it's like a distorted rib cage.
I thought it was those aliens face sucker things.
No.
No.
All right.
God, that's an hour and a half of my life I'll never get back, James. Aliens versus Predator.
I genuinely thought you would have given up. I am sorry.
I do. It takes a lot for me to turn off a movie, but when it comes to sci-fi and horror, like I was saying, I don't. I usually
Sometimes
stick
you
with
got to know when to pull off that Band-Aid and just be like,
yeah,
nope.
I was like, well, maybe
That's
this
what I
will
did
turn into a
with
B
Carnival
movie, and
Row.
it doesn't. It just didn't turn into a B movie at all. I was like, oh, there's nothing.
I got 3 episodes into Carnival Row and nope. Utterly bored. Don't care about anybody. Anyway, that's not the point. The point is Undertow. Great album. Great first album, or first full-length album by the band, as we said.
Yep, recorded at the famous Sound City Studios.
Yes. What was the Sylvia? What was her name?
Sylvia Massey.
Sylvia Massey. That's right. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
But fantastic job. This whole album sounds really, really cohesive. Just the sound in general is great. And I think there's an energy captured on this that isn't found on any of Tool's later works. I feel like this was a lot more raw, where everything that followed it was a little bit more orchestrated. Enema, I think, still has some of this same kind of raw energy to it. But Lateralus, 10,000 Eyes?
10,000
Did I make
days.
up that album?
10,000 Days.
10,000 Days. I'm thinking of the eye on the cover of Enema. But yeah, I think those are a little bit more.
Is that a Jamie Lee Foxx moment?
Yeah, exactly. There you go. I think they're a little bit more orchestrated, and I don't necessarily dislike them or like them for that. I prefer the more raw nature of these first 2 albums a lot more.
Well, this is a different beast in and of itself, because this is the only album, full-length album, because the Opiate, the EP would have it too, with their original bassist, Paul D'Amour. So, I think that could have something, an effect on the sound. But you're right, rawness. There's a raw nerve to this album. And if you think about, you got to think about like the times of when this came out. This is 93. It came out, and it clocks in at over an hour, so it's 69 minutes. Comes out 90. You think about the mid 90s and the cusp of the mid 90s. You're dealing with a lot of like grunge, and so it's like this is a different sound from every aspect of it.
93 is like that definitive, because you think like 91 through 92, there's still hair metal happening then.
Oh, for sure.
It's on the way down.
Right. Like 93 is like you're right. What's Nevermind is 92 or 4. I always get confused.
Wait, Nevermind.
92, and then he died. When did he die? 94?
Oh, let me pull this up.
He died 28 years ago. It's 28 years ago. Oh no, this record came out 20 years ago. Maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe both.
Hold on. I'm trying to do the
producer. Come on, that's our research and development crew.
Dylan Rackley.
Rackley, where are you at, bro?
Dylan, you on?
Who's on here right now? You guys, throw us some comments. Give us some love. What we got?
Oh, never
We
mind.
love you. Love us.
That's right.
Help me.
High
91.
Quality.
So I knew it was 91. All right, 91.
Nevermind was 91.
Yeah.
And this is 93.
Right.
Correct.
No, I mean, but this is like 93. You're like, Rage.
It's 92.
Like, so much. Like I always want to really push into the brains of anyone who doesn't know, who didn't live through it. The 90s were a truly incredible time for music, because there were so many iconic bands. Like I feel like the 90s is our generation's like 60s almost, where there was just these iconic records come out and this melting pot of different. I mean, there's
a lot of shifts happening.
Yeah.
Tons of genres are having huge. I mean, punk scene, hardcore scene. You're seeing iconic records come out in every single genre. There is a
even hip hop, like everything. Yeah.
Oh, hip hop. Yeah. I mean, classic albums of hip hop. Absolutely.
But you think, like, not to go on a tangent, but it goes from like the gangster. It starts like early 90s rap, which is like party rap almost, to gangster rap, which is dark, and then it ends with like Puff Daddy, and then like the shiny suits dancing around. It was. Who's frozen? You guys frozen? I'm frozen.
No.
Who's frozen? James froze for a second.
James,
am I moving? Am I good?
Frozen.
No,
you don't want to move around.
So I just think like to hear this band, to go from Opiate to this record to Anima, however you say it. Let's pick away. How are we going to say it?
Anima.
Because okay. So just those 3 records are quite different. This compared to that record, this sounds like a demo almost. The quality, like, not putting it down, it's sonically fantastic, but I think one of you referenced earlier, the crispness and pristineness of their later works are very different than this. There's such a rawness that, people, I think people know Sober, a casual fan, that's all they would know off this record. But dig deeper. There's a lot of great stuff happening.
I think that the rawness I agree with. I don't know that it sounds so much. I mean, it's a well polished demo because I think Opiate sounds for sure like a demo. That EP.
Yeah, I can't remember what that sounds like.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right. I mean, this is an iconic record. So you have Maynard's on vocals, you have Adam Jones on guitar, Paul Demore, I don't know, bass guitar.
I was thinking Demore.
Right? Henry Rollins is a guest vocalist from the Rollins band. He played with Black Flag for a little bit, so he did guest vocals on bottom. And then you have Chris Haskett, who's playing who's the guitars with the Rollins band and numerous other outfits, doing the sledgehammer on Disgustipated. So,
Of course, Danny Carey.
oh, didn't I say Danny Carey? I'm sorry.
I don't think so. Yeah.
Right in front of my face. Yeah, Danny Carey. Sorry. Yeah. I don't know about you guys. I hear a tremendous amount of influence by Pink Floyd and somewhat and Rush with Tool, especially with this album. I mean, this is an album you got to throw on some headphones. This plays out like, even though it's aggressive, it plays out like a Floyd epic album. Like there's a lot of sound to be heard that Adam's creating, that Danny's creating, that Paul's creating, even Maynard with his voice. Like there's just so many sounds going on, and it's just layered with just fantastic soundscapes.
I feel like Maynard as a singer, I don't think there's ever been one before him or since him that does what he does quite the way he does it. And to be very honest, and I don't want to get yelled at, that was almost what made me not love this as much as I thought it would, because his phrasing and tone and just his approach to lyrics is so unique that for me personally, who's sometimes much simpler when it comes to things like that, I couldn't sing along with it as comfortably on like a half listening level than you can maybe some other records. But that being said, the tone of his voice is so unique and special and fits with this band. It is though he literally went into the universe and said, give me the perfect guitarist and perfect drummer, and maybe not the perfect bassist, but the perfect bassist at the time, and then later a different perfect bassist, to create this symphony for what he does, which is so special. You guys agree?
So I agree with most of that. I think Paul's a fantastic bassist, and I think that when he left, it was like, oh, he's got a noticeable sound on this record.
Dude, in Sober, the notes that aren't notes, yeah, is it a pick? I assume he's playing with a pick against the strings. Like it's, oh my gosh, like if one of those was missing, it wouldn't be the same song. That's brilliant.
Right. Yeah, absolutely.
I personally, in listening to this, I listened to this and listened to a couple others. I listened to once or twice, and I listened to Ladderless, and I found going back to Undertow over and over again, because that's what we're focusing on.
I'm not sure what you're saying.
Yeah, you're breaking up terrible, dude.
Yeah, I don't know. You're right.
No, barely. You're frozen and everything.
I don't know if
Just wait a second. Just hang back for a second. See if you buffer and try and talk back in a couple seconds. Let Brian take something and James come in after.
Yeah, I mean, I think that the most amazing thing about this record is if you going back to the time, so kind of giving people who aren't either familiar with the record, the band, or certainly the time, so not growing up in the 90s or having a footing in the 90s, you have to think about like some of the sounds that were coming out at that point. And we kind of said in every genre, everybody's having their heyday. But you in the rock arena, you had an overprevalence of like these Eddie Vedder sounding, Eddie Vedder, unique on those, right? But like how many other Eddie Vedder sounding vocalists were trying to come out at that time or after that? Scott Weiland. So you had very similar sounding vocalists at the time, and then you have this sound come out, which was not necessarily coming out at that time, rock wise. Like you like you said, the dying of the hair metal. You had more of that new metal coming in, and but you had this new sound. Oh, James is gone. And then you had this voice. This is an iconic voice that you don't hear at that time, and it was like you said, some of the things it may not be as you could sing along to. I think that's what he brings. Just like Pink Floyd, there are parts that you can sing along to that get stuck in your head, but it doesn't stick to that same verse chorus recipe. And I think
100%.
that's really awesome to make something that catchy and not have that same recipe to be adhered to. We lost James.
Right. It's back to the original, baby. We're coming up on a 1-year anniversary, right? It's April, no?
That's right. Yeah.
Here we are, back to the first team. Here we go. Come on, we need it. Where is it?
Oh man. Yeah, I mean, let's jump into it. You want to jump into? You want to just go with the first track? I mean, I feel bad doing that because I mean, it's one of James's favorite tracks. So I mean,
We'll skip it. We'll come in a second. We'll let him.
yeah, this is. I mean, there's a lot of oddities to this album, like little hidden things about it. I didn't know that pig that I showed you guys on the back of the album, around like the plethora of forks there. You gotta stop chewing into the mic, brother.
Sorry, I was doing it.
Terrible. All right. So that's Adam Jones's pig, apparently.
Really?
Yeah, just surrounded by a plethora of forks there. There's cool. So it's not on this one. It's on the CD. So when you open up the CD, there's a lot more artwork that. Hey, there he is.
Oh yes.
I'm on LTE. I think my local internet just died.
All right, we'll ride the wave with you.
Is like quality terrible? Am I
Perfect
right?
now.
Or
Seem good now.
okay.
Yeah.
Sorry, guys.
I didn't want to jump into Intolerance because I know that's one of your favorites. So I wanted to just jump in with some oddities, talking about like the pig being Adam Jones's pig. I don't remember what I was saying though. I can't remember everything else. Oh, so in the booklet, did you own the CD, James? Do you own the album?
I do, but I think all of my CDs are in Rockland.
So
Yeah.
when you opened up the CD booklet, you had like all those pictures, but like there's one because they're not known for not putting their lyrics in their books, which is to me annoying because I like reading it.
Yeah, me too.
But there's one passage and it reads like a song, but when you listen to the album, it's poetic. It's not in there. But if you listen to the album from front to back, it's one line dissected from most of the songs. So there's a line from Sober, Crawl Away, 4 Degrees, Prison Sex, Flood, Undertow, Intolerance, and Swamp Song, and Disgustipated, and it puts it all together into this poem. It's really cool. You know what I'm talking about?
No, I don't remember that at all.
Man, I gotta find it. So yeah,
It's been a really long time since I've looked at it.
Here,
So.
I'll go grab it. It's right here, so I'll just go grab it.
You okay there, Rob?
Quick word from our sponsors: Garden of Life, My Kind Organics multi gummy vitamins, and Believe turmeric ginger with black pepper tropical flavored gummies.
What is that?
I was just talking from our sponsors.
What's your sponsor?
Our sponsor is My Garden of Life, My Kind Organics multivitamin men's gummies,
all right.
and Believe turmeric ginger with black pepper tropical flavored gummies.
Turmeric? Oh, I just made turmeric pills today. So
there you go.
Yeah, right on. This is the original cover right here.
You made turmeric pills?
Yeah, I was spending a lot of money
wow.
trying to buy those things, and then I found a big thing of the turmeric and black pepper, big container of it at Costco, and I was like, oh shit! So I bought myself a pill machine for like $40, and it's not really a machine; it's like all hand. And I just press out a bunch of pills. So I have like 300 pills I made for, nothing.
That's a lot of time.
I have to drop out again. I don't know if you guys can hear me. I'm sorry. I don't know if you can hear me. I have to drop out one more time. Just my internet is terrible. Sorry, guys.
I hear you fine.
Yeah, you're fine. What a weirdo.
It was perfect there. I think he has to go rip ass or something. I'm not sure. He was perfect right there. I mean, he was clearer than us. I'm talking about fucking vitamins, and he's
Yeah. Oh my god. Yeah, trust me. I just want to start this over. Say you won't so you won't go. This is love. I'll make weapons out of my imperfections. Lay back and let me show you another way. Only this one holy medium brings me peace of mind. Cleanse and purge me in the water twice as loud as reason. Euphoria. I've been far too sympathetic. No one told you to come. I hope it sucks you down. Life feeds on life. This is necessary. It's like, yeah, so it's one line from the majority of the songs. And that's pretty cool. And it plays out like this great poem. Well, I just kind of blasted through it. Oh my God, Rose, what's up?
That's a wonderful thing, Rose. I agree. Looking forward to the artwork inside the album case.
Yeah, here.
Kids don't get that stuff.
Yeah, so you get the back of the album was the pig. On the inside, this is supposed to be the original. That's the cow licking his little butthole. You got the front cover with the
rib cage.
The rib cage. And then there's a bunch of stuff that was, most people had, censors had a field day with just, their pins in their face. What was that? What's that called? Acupuncture. So yeah, a lot of good stuff. Visually they're a stunning band. Early on they had like some really cool stuff, and then from onward, like they've done just fantastic artwork and just really pushed the limits. both with Alex Gray and just themselves with their art direction. It's really
So,
cool.
I'm gonna be.
We're just plowing ahead without James. Let's do it.
He's down there, but he's no picture. Like he's not there. It's not working. Ah, boy.
All right, well, let's just jump into it.
Yeah. Okay.
Opening track, Intolerance. What'd you think of it?
I liked it. It's a great opener. Pulled my attention in. Cool guitar riff.
Yeah.
That into Prison Sex into James.
Am I
There
okay?
he is.
I'm sorry, guys. I'm trying a different Wi-Fi. I don't know if it's going to work or not.
You were perfectly fine the last
Yeah,
time.
you were. I don't know why you pulled out.
Yeah.
I couldn't hear you.
Oh, all right. Oh, Jesus, I dropped my
Rob.
What?
So before I get cut off again,
Talk about
two
the first
things-
track quickly.
the first thing I was trying to say was I preferred Paul's playing to Justin's.
Yeah.
The more I listen to the later music and the more I listen to this record.
Yes.
I think
agree.
what he contributed to it, I think what the rest of the band got off of him, I think made everything better. And that's not to say that it might have not gone down that orchestrated route later, but I think Paul's playing complemented the band as a whole more. And I just found out today, when I really came to like solidify this conclusion, he just replaced Tony Campos as Ministry's bass player. So he's still active in the community too. So that's pretty cool. But yeah, I would.
Was he in Static X?
I don't know.
James, you've gone black.
There he is.
Can you hear me?
I hear you. Yeah.
Okay. Sorry. I'm on like my cable provider's Wi-Fi and it asked me to log in and like I'm here. But anyway, Intolerance, favorite song on the album. It's my favorite guitar riff on the album. It's my favorite Tool song to play.
Yeah. This is the one I was talking about. It's a great opening track, like Rob said. It's refreshing to hear this new sound in music, but in a voice. Because like I said, you're saturated in the time with the Kurtz, Eddies, and Scotts in the music industry, or the sound alikes, and people trying to sound like that or replicate that. And we have that, and that's great. And those people do it well, and not say that other people are just naturally in that kind of octave. But it was nice to hear somebody really belt it out. I mean, Maynard's got a great voice, like just a fantastic, and that man can project, man. So this lyrically too, this song is just man. I love how he just opens up. It's like, I don't want to be hostile. I don't want to be dismal. I want to trust you. I want to believe you. I want to have faith to put away the dagger. It's like, ooh, like you could just taste the desire to I don't want to be this angry. And, and then the way the third verse kicks in and he's just like, our guilt, our blame. I've been far too sympathetic. If that doesn't get you charged up and ready to like, yeah, like, I don't know what will. It's like, I am not innocent. It's just, he just belts it, man. I don't know. I'm sold. The second that song comes in, I'm like, well, I'm listening to the rest of this album. That's how this is going.
And it's funny because they do it to what would seem to turn into a typical Tool thing, and you go 15 seconds with no sound when the song starts. I think that's in iTunes. I've edited out that 15 seconds, so when the song comes up in my playlist, it just kicks right in.
Okay.
But it's really funny because like there would be these times that I'd be listening to. Just like I have my playlist on shuffle on iTunes, and I'd be like, well, there's nothing there, and I'd skip ahead, and I would miss the damn song. So I had to go make that change.
Yeah, I like how James is stuck like this now.
Oh,
now you're better now. Just don't move at all from where you are right now, and you won't be frozen in a weird way.
Some crazy memes.
I will try to just stay like this.
Yeah.
Very minimal mouth movements.
Oh man, on to Prison Sex.
Yes. This was the first song, one of the first songs I decidedly remember playing in a different tuning, or tuning that didn't make any sense, because it's just standard tuning with the lower string drop to B.
Yeah.
Yeah. And typically drop D, that's a very commonplace thing in the guitar playing world, but drop B a little bit less so. So it was a fun thing to learn, and that this song opened up my brain to just, I'm going to tune this string really, really low for no good reason.
Yeah.
And turns out there's plenty of good reasons. It's great.
Nice. What do you think that eerie sound is at the beginning? I mean, what does it remind you of? What do you think of?
I think it's just a guitar string tuned way too low. It's just kind of flopping around, and somebody's just tightening it up really quick at the end.
Yeah. I don't know. It just has this feel of like a noose. Like it's just like, and then it snaps tight. You're like, ooh. I don't know. It's got a foreboding sound, and to go along with the whole content of the song being about abuse and everything. And the bass, like I think you mentioned it earlier. I think it was, you were talking about sober, but this bass has an effect that has this foreboding, hollow sound to it that really adds the already unsettling narrative that's going on here about a song being about abuse. It seems to alternate too, the song lyrically, being sung from the perspective of the abused and then also from the abuser, which is very interesting to have that dynamic right there in the song. A lot of times, some people choose to go with one part of the narrative, so it's a very unsettling song, catchy as hell.
Yeah, it's a great song. It's another very it's another very, very fun song to play, and I think it is a really good indicator of what you're in for with Adam Jones as a guitar player. That's something that I always take away from it when I listen to it because I'm a nerd.
Yeah,
but great song.
What's cool is that
I love the vocal effects on Maynard's voice too. Like when the chorus fades out, that wobble that it has is fantastic.
Well, I also like how at the conclusion of the song it disintegrates and systematically falls apart, and it just adds this no silver lining. Like there's no happy ending or comfortable resolve to this all too familiar horror story, right? It just like it has to end this way. It has to end just disintegrating and falling apart because like it kind of plays into the psyche of what either one of those people, So it's interesting.
Yeah. And they very successfully, I mean, you'll hear it throughout, and they really don't later on, I don't think, with more recent Tool stuff. Like his voice is like an instrument, the sound of his voice, the colors that it brings to the music. Later on their material gets a lot more lost in the, okay, how many time signature changes and how many polyrhythms can we bring in and how long can we make the song and how long can we hide behind a black screen before the audience gets mad and how long can I play the same note?
There it is.
There's a beer bottle at me. There's a lot more. This is progressive, and I totally get it. Like this does, as you had mentioned, feel like you hear the Rush, you hear the Floyd, but at the same time, like they're still a rock band.
Oh yeah, 100%.
In this record, and even in the next record. But then after Lateralis, it starts to change. It becomes like almost like here we go. They take themselves too seriously, maybe.
So there's an interesting thing about
too much of a machine. I think it's not as fun at that. But I feel like the fun, like just let's get together in a room and jam and write a bunch of songs is kind of gone. It's like complexity for the sake of complexity.
Like I'm fascinated as much as the next guy by sacred geometry.
Mm-hmm.
But at the end of the day, like I just want to rock out a bit, and like as we approach now Sober, the third track, like that's a rocker, man. Like every element of that song, from when the bass comes in to the feedback, which is so perfectly controlled with the guitar, infectious, to the click of the pick on the bass, to everything, like it's just, and it's not overly complex for a band that has music that sometimes can be like mind-numbingly complex. It's so accessible, almost where it may even be misleading if you were to be like, oh, I love that song, but then the rest of it's a little bit different, but not so different where you're not ending up at the same place. But like, that again, here's comes a Rob. I remember being a freshman in high school, and in Suffern High School, we had Spirit Week, and during lunch every day during Spirit Week, because in Suffern, everyone eats lunch together, there would be music happening outside. And I remember Greg Hart, or was it Jane?
It was Greg was playing guitar, Jane was playing bass, and I believe Marshall was singing.
Yes, it was Marshall. Yes. And like here I'm like this little kid in this new school, like, and maybe it was 10th grade. Is Marshall your age or older, James?
I really don't know.
It's not super relevant.
For all I know, Marshall could have been like 40 when he was in high school.
Well, the reason I say is like in 10th grade, we started, we were a band. So I guess we had to be a band for me to have interest in this, but just these people playing this song to me felt so much better than I could ever imagine to be. And it was a Tool song. And now if like you're like, no one's going to be at Spirit Week playing, 10,000 days or something much more. This was like garage band kids could play it, but at the same time, the musicianship was insane. I don't know if that makes sense. That might make sense.
It's a really good less is more song.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. You bring up a good point, because I was curious about like what happened to Paul, the bass player, because it's like I know recently, like James said, he's the bass player for Ministry, but what happened to him? Like he left on the cusp of, I mean, this is where they catapulted. Like,
Sure.
it's not just Anima. Like, this is where they catapulted. They immediately went to selling out arenas and things like that, which is a huge thing for anybody. He left and just didn't want to be pigeonholed, and just kind of reinvent himself, did different things. But he said in an article, I don't know, it was 2020 or 2019. Yeah, he was saying about how like he had to leave because he felt like you are just one part in this band. You were the drums, you're only the drums. You're the bass, you're only the bass. And he's like, and I want to create outside that. And he's like, I just don't, something along the lines of like not wanting to be in a band that takes forever to constantly redefine and recalculate each thing that they're doing in the studio. He's just like, I don't feel like I need to do things 10,000 times to say like that one needs to go on the record. He's like, and I think that's why it takes 8 years to release music with that band. And then soon after, that's when Maynard put that Twitter thing out with the Hush video, and he said, "Look, it's Paul." Like, in a little stop, you know. I just thought it was a good, nice little rebuttal. It's like, hey, but I mean, I can see that. Like, it takes them a long time, but like, it becomes very, very calculated to the point where, like, how organic does it feel? How much of the not to say that there's a magic, but how organic does it feel in the studio when you're going over things just countless times? You know?
Yeah, there's a line in Prometheus that says nature doesn't draw straight lines.
Yep.
And people don't instinctively write 13/8.
Yeah.
It's not fun. Like, you have to be thinking to. That's what I was really like getting at that whole time earlier on, is like there's too much thought involved and not enough fun.
Yeah.
Like, you can't enjoy yourself when you're like, all right, so first we'll go 13/8, then it's going to go 5/6, and that, like, that's not enjoyable. That's a homework assignment. Like, I just want to write a rock song.
Yeah.
And I think for me, like, probably ignorantly, but whatever, I'll lead with it. I found myself having a harder time getting as into this as I would have been when I first heard it with Brian. I first borrowed it from, I mean, I borrowed these CDs from you. I know I did.
Yeah.
So like, I found myself now soured on this band from Lateralis onward, and having seen them live, even though that most recent record had some good songs. I forget what it's called. The 2 records after.
Fear Inoculum?
Yeah,
one?
maybe. I don't know.
Yeah.
Like, you know, it's okay, but like none of it stuck with me the way these songs did and the way the next record did. But I just feel like that it feels like work element somehow like seeped in and poisoned all of it for me.
I could see that. There's certain.
You don't have to agree. I mean, I'm just an asshole. I get it, but
no, there's certain things I could.
No, you're right.
That too, where like you like a band a great deal, you go see them live, and they're nothing but disappointing, and then you're like, all right, well, it could have been an off night, it could have been the crowd, it could have been name a variable, and then you see it again, you're like, yeah, I don't know, and then it kind of ruins the music, you know, on the albums, because like, well, if you can't capture that rawness on the record live, like, what are we doing here? Right. So it can be disheartening and disappointing, you know.
I met Danny Carey one time, and he was a douche also in that sour.
Oh, don't talk crap.
No.
Don't talk crap.
It wasn't that
You don't know what's going on, though. You don't know what's going on, right? He could have been having a horrible day. Maybe his wife left him. I don't know.
Maybe he was bidding on something on Reverb, and somebody bought it out from underneath him, you know?
That's true.
You know, I told Sam last night how I like to tape myself yelling at customer service representative.
Yeah, you do.
She told me that's not a normal thing to do.
No, it's not.
But it works for our entertainment, that's for sure.
I'm just so proud of myself.
There is no outcome where I don't get what I want.
There is no foreseeable outcome in any reality where I'm not going to end this phone call with what I want or something like that. Which is great.
Where I don't get my money back.
I don't get my money back. That's what it was. Yeah. On to the bottom.
So did we cover sober, or like did we kind of like that was just part of what we were just talking about?
I think we kind of covered. I mean, I think there's something like you said, simplicity to the song. It's not overly complex, and if you look at it though, they inject so many different things. So like creatively, there's the idea of the shadow self from Carl Jung. So like there's a lot of intelligence in this band and what they're writing about or creating. You have references. It's a song about, you know, sober, obviously. It's a song about a friend of theirs that was, you know, dependent upon, you know, drugs. So, you know, how dependence has taken the driver's seat and altered this person beyond recognition. And the line calling out to Jesus and later Mary is, I think, definitely some sort of callback to like the 12-step program of getting sober, which, you know, in the 12-step program of, you know, Alcohol Anonymous, there's a reliance upon some of those ideals and dogma, you know?
Yeah.
So that's pretty intelligent to kind of juxtapose all those things together, you know?
Yeah.
has anyone seen? It appeared on YouTube a few years back. That's one of Maynard's first bands. I believe they were on a local TV, like cable access kind of a thing.
Yeah.
And the song the lyrics were for Sober, but it was a very, very different song at the time.
Isn't
I
it
don't know
like
if anybody remembers that or if has
Yes.
seen it?
like synth poppy almost, right? Like not dark.
Yeah.
Mhm.
It was
Yeah.
more like in the vein of Faith No More, kind of, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. But interesting.
Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about. Absolutely.
But it's I think it's pretty cool to watch that and then like A/B that with how it eventually turned out. I
I
think
love stuff like that.
right? Oh, it's crazy.
You know what though?
Okay, so
Go ahead.
We've
been tangenting a lot. I apologize. Maybe instead of going track by track, since we don't really do that so much anymore, can we just like pick some of the big
Faves.
ones?
Yeah, for
Sure.
sure. Well, I mean, yeah. Where do you want to go next?
Sober's the
Anybody?
I like, so I'm good.
Well, we could go to just the jump straight to the end, and I mean we can always backtrack, but for the moment you could always say Disgustipated.
Yeah.
Do you want to take off on that, Rob? Or do
No,
you want
I
me to
interrupted you.
Keep going.
I interrupted you. I can't see.
Oh no, it's just a.
I can't see your mouth moving, so I don't.
Oh, am I real? Am I still stuck?
Yeah, so I don't know when you're pausing to.
I'm sorry.
It's all your fault.
If you're watching
Wi-Fi
this,
doesn't
like,
work,
wow,
James.
like James doesn't have his shit together, or James is like he's a ventriloquist. That's not the case. I just have really bad internet apparently today.
Bring
but,
back ventriloquism.
It happens, man. It's all good.
But Disgustipated, I didn't write too much about it, but I feel like it builds really, really like it's a very, very slow burn, kind of like in this build up to that. The ending is just absolutely chaotic, but because I hear the music so much first, and because I hear like the sounds and the elements a lot more than I hear the lyrics, it took me a couple listens years ago to hear what Maynard is talking about in that opening. And when you listen to it and you understand everything he's saying, it's freaking hysterical.
It's really,
let
really
the rabbits wear
smart.
glasses.
It's great. So I'll read you guys some of it. So here, let's break down the song though, so people understand. So it's 15 minutes, so a little over 15 minutes. So it's like 15 minutes, 24 seconds, something like that. The song ends, like it has a slow build up. It's like these sounds of like outdoor noises and like this like tribal kind of like beat going on before like you have music, you know. And then it goes into crickets for like 7 minutes before it comes back in with like this crazy reading by some dude. But like when it finally kicks in, it's Maynard putting on this different voice, like a Midwestern voice, and he's just reading, and it begins with like, you know, and the angel of the Lord came onto me, snatched me up from my place of slumber. And then he's just going on and on. You're like, oh man, he sounds like a preacher in like a tent. And then, you know, and like James says, then like, what is it? It's like, oh yeah. And as we descended, cries of impending doom rose from the soil. 1,000, nay, 1,000,000 voices full of fear and terror possessed them then. And I begged, angel of the Lord, what are these tortured screams? And the angel said unto me, these are the cries of the carrots.
These are the cries of the carrots.
And then he's just going on and on.
Of the carrots.
Yeah. Yes, you see, Reverend Maynard, tomorrow is the harvest day, and to them it is the Holocaust. And he just goes on, and it's like, it's hilarious.
Is that why I say let the rabbits wear glasses? Because carrots are good for your eyes?
Damn you! Let the rabbits wear glasses.
Oh my God, that's amazing.
See, Rob just had like that epiphany that I had like 10 years ago.
Oh, I don't listen to lyrics. Yeah, that's crazy.
It's so funny. And in that moment when he says, tomorrow is the Holocaust, there's like this big gong hit, and it's like, like one of the reveals from The Shining when like the girls are at the end of the hall. It's amazing. And then the way the song evolves from there, it turns into like a chant, but it turns into like a chant with like a pulse behind it. And the pulse gets bigger and bigger as it keeps going. Eventually, it's that huge moment with the shotgun at the end that it's just each part of the pulse is accentuated with a shotgun blast.
Which in the studio, they bought crappy pianos and fired off real shotguns at it and just recorded it.
Is that what the extra noise is at the end of the shotgun blast? Is the piano?
Yeah, absolutely.
Wow. I didn't know that. That's awesome.
Well, and it's smart. So even though it's... Go ahead, sorry.
I was going to say, if you listen to that song, if you need to get yourself amped up for something, just put that on and just go through. By the time it gets to the end, you're ready to tear that off.
Yeah, and it had that same exact it took me back to the misery machine driving around, stupid punk kids, like just F the world, life.
Feeds on life. Feeds on life.
Yeah.
So just imagine that with like a 4-4 shotgun in the hand.
Yeah. Yeah, and in the silliness of the lyrics, what you think is it's really brings up a bigger point. So again, there's great intelligence in all of what they do, but like it's talking about like the sanctity and sacredness of life. Like, oh, how these poor carrots, like, but like we pick and choose what's sacred, right? Because it's like it's okay to eat the carrots, it's all right, we deem what's sacred. So he's showing the hypocrisy in these things and just in life, and just putting it in a silly spin on it with carrots and the rabbits, wearing glasses. But it's great, man. It's great.
Need to do a solo updated version of that grapes for his vineyard. I would very much enjoy that.
It's breaking up again. Breaking up.
Oh,
It's bad.
Can you hear me?
Not very well.
Guys, if you want me out, it's been real. And I'll talk to you guys later. I don't think this is going to get better.
What? You're just leaving on us? That's it?
I just don't think it's going to get much better. If you want, I'll hang out here. The destruction you guys have can carry on.
I'll hear you out here. I'm a robot.
Can't hear me again.
How can we be lovers?
If you can hear me, I'll try and catch you next time. Sorry.
Oh man, James.
That's all right. It was starting to go.
Yeah.
Cool.
Do you have a favorite song on this album?
I'll tell you what, man, like going into it was sober. It was going to be sober just because it's sober. Right. But
Yeah.
I liked Intolerance. I like Prison Sex. I didn't dislike any of it. Like, I don't want to come across, as this isn't, my take on, another band that, a piece of a divider between rooms, if you will. So you get it?
No, I missed it because it cut out. Say it again.
I said, it's not like when I referenced another band that would be like, like a divider between rooms, if you're familiar with it. Yeah. No, nor like a band where you have, another eye up here. So it's, I didn't dislike any of the songs. It just dude, it could have just been where I was at this week. But
Yeah,
it didn't hit me the way, like I'm here, we're going through it. I'm playing Tool in my brain and I'm singing Hooker with a Penis. And that's not on this album.
Right.
Like it's just for some reason.
It could be the mind frame you're in, man.
I think that's what it is. I really do. And I apologize, to the audience.
I don't apologize.
No, because like it's, I take responsibility and it's not lost on me, that responsibility to come in at my A game.
Right.
And it just didn't hit me this particular week. And that's just, I know it's great. It just wasn't there for me this week.
Dude, I've done that. I just recently, when I was building that table, I was in the garage and I was like, I threw in a 5 CD changer. I put in four discs that were just aggressive as hell, just mean and nasty, just gnarly, just working out some anger. And then that 5th disc, I threw in something just the antithesis of that, and I just something I enjoy, one of my top favorite, and just I was like, I'm not feeling this. I've done that at playing this one. I got right into it, but there's plenty of times where I'm like, I really want to. I love this band. I really want to listen. It's not in the mood right now. Right now, Blind Melon's heavy. I don't know. That just screams summertime to me, and just good weather and just hanging out and bonfires and drinking, having a good time. So this has that vibe to me. There's only one song on this album that never really sticks to me. I like it every time it comes on. I like it. I won't skip over it. But 4 Degrees doesn't really stick with me. It's not like something like any one of these songs. I'll catch myself singing a line from it or some sort of harmony from it. 4 Degrees, I'll do that, but it's not as frequently as the other ones. So it's just the one thing I do like about 4 Degrees is the subtlety that you hear in Danny's drumming, and it just really demonstrates his ability. Like you were saying, he creates like all these polyrhythms, and
it's incredibly talented.
Yeah, it's insane. It's like watching, a drum solo. Like he could just, he said, that man plays and you feel it. Like it is well calculated. You feel every single strike.
I like it. That's very well said, dude. I liken him to, there's a lot of Neil Peart in there, but then there's also like that, I feel so douchey saying it that way, but that's the way you're supposed to say it. Just like the synthesizers, Moog, everyone says Moog, but it's really pronounced Moog.
No kidding, really.
Robert Moog, but we all say Moog. Anyway, there's a Terry Bozzio. How do you say Bozio?
I always say Bozio, but maybe
I
it's
think it's
Bozio.
Bozio. I think it's Bozio. I think you're
Okay.
right. We just make up words here on Record Talk. We say things how we want. You know, James has a Western accent. Yeah, it's what it is. Accent. But I hear that. I mean, I remember watching your house that Terry Bozzio maybe
Oh yeah,
tape or Blu-ray. I have it on DVD now here at the school.
VHS. I have it. Yeah.
Yeah. I was like searching for it, and I found it, and I got it on, and I would play it here. You know, but when he tuned the drums to all the different notes and he's doing the thing, like that's latter day Danny Carey. I hear he's like playing a symphony on the drums.
100%. Yeah.
And on this record, there's flourishes of it. I feel like this record represents, you see the spark of where these guys are all going to turn into sort of a wildfire. And I think it just, you know, my closing thoughts on it, maybe prematurely, but my closing thoughts are if you're a fan of Tool now, you got to go back to the beginning. You always have to go back to the beginning, right? No matter what. And this is, if you like them now, you're definitely not going to dislike this in any capacity.
Yep. Yeah. So I got into them when this album, the tail end, right before Anima came out. And when I bought this, I immediately went back out to the store. I didn't even finish digesting this. And I went out and got Opiate because I'd seen Opiate and I was like, oh, I go back. It's like 7 tracks or whatever it is.
Right.
What is James saying here? Outage alert. Oh, so that would be why he's got like some sort of outage going on in this area. There's currently an outage in your area that could impact your internet, telephone, TV. It's the sign of the apocalypse, everybody. It's going down. So you enjoyed that? Not to switch gears here for a minute. I'm
ready to switch gears.
All right. I mean, ultimately, guys, listen to this album. It's reminiscent of Pink Floyd in the sense that of its epicness and its broad strokes of creating a vast soundscape and story. It's not a concept album that I'm aware of, but it's great. And it's a good one to put on your headphones and just really digest every little nuance that they're doing. It's great. I can't recommend this. It's one of my top favorite albums for sure.
And you guys got to understand, like Brian is a wizard when it comes to music. So if it's in his top 5, even if it's in his top 20, that's something that the world should pay attention to. You know what I'm saying?
It's just great. Yeah, it's great. Thank you, brother. I appreciate it.
Yeah, no, you have such great taste. I implore anyone to, you know, go to your Alexa and say, Alexa, play music from 1993.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
And because that's what you can do. I mean, the voice is so special. People, you know, are afraid of Skynet listening to us, and they should be. It's horrifying.
Yeah.
But you can't go on iTunes or Spotify and do that. But you can just say play 80s U2, and Alexa will do that. And that's where voice really is the next level of the interactivity between us and the machines.
Yeah.
Tell your smart speaker, whomever it is, to play music from 1993, and I guarantee you none of it's going to sound like this.
Yeah, and you could do it on
special.
Yeah, you could do it on Pandora. You could do it on Spotify. I know YouTube people put together playlists. I did it actually before this album. I was like, you know what? What was it?
But it's even easier if you can do it with your voice. You just say, "Hey, hey Google, play this, say that."
Yeah.
And you don't have to think about it. Like it's.
But saying like play a playlist from the '90s, you'll get to see like what everything was going on there. You still have some because I was listening to it this weekend. I was like, wow, there's some hair metal stuff in there.
Yeah.
There's some you're hearing all the different sounds and tastes of that time. It's interesting to hear this is there's different sounds like this in there. But you like that Nirvana song. So I don't know if anybody knows about this. I posted on Record Talk. So an AI created a Nirvana song from scratch, like no involvement from the previous members. Obviously, one of them's dead. And created a Nirvana song with Kurt singing, brand new song. What was it called? Crap, I can't remember.
A very Nirvana-y title though. Like it just.
Yeah, and you liked it, huh?
You know what? All right. So I have an overarching thought on this. I know we're running on time, so I'll try not to be too pontificating. But AI scares me. I don't think it's a good idea. I don't. But that Nirvana song sounded like it could have been on the same record as You Know You're Right, and I like You Know You're Right better than almost any other Nirvana song.
Yeah.
So that somehow the machine knew not only what Nirvana would have written, but what they would have written, where they were at the end of their time together, and that's really scary to me.
Yeah, so I mean that's why when you're like, I like it, I'm like, even if there is something a redeeming quality about this, it's not a Nirvana film number one. I don't personally, I don't like it mainly because of that. I'm like, well, that's scary. This is the soundtrack to the apocalypse, the AI apocalypse is what this is. This is the first track.
When I was at the NAMM show in January 2020, before the world ended, We went to a talk on AI and music, and it was hosted by this guy BT, who's just brilliant composer and makes all kind of great music. And Dark Intensity was on the panel, who just actually did one of the remixes for Outbreak. So like these really great musicians, and they were all talking about how they use AI as a collaborator to write music. Like you can literally put in a chord progression and it will generate for you bass lines and chords and vocals and all these other things. And there's different software. I mean, now there's a thing with Google had something where you could literally take your phone and go beepity bop bop bop, and then it'll turn that into a saxophone, or it'll turn it into a guitar. It literally will take your voice and make it whatever instrument that's within its algorithm. Horrifying stuff.
Yeah.
But we can't stop it. So it's like, what are our choices? It's going to happen. The world is moving forward. Hopefully it doesn't turn into Skynet, but it's better to understand this technology as best we can and be ready for it and understand its limitations versus just be like, I don't like it, it's bad.
Right. And I think you bring up a good point, is having a healthy understanding and fear of it. I think that
Right.
you have to create a paradigm where it can exist safely and ethically, and effectively. So you have to create better parameters for it, whether that be laws, rules, or whatever. You can't. You're seeing it now with the internet. The internet is kind of the Wild West, and it has been for a while. Maybe not in every country, but certainly in this one. I know other, and I'm not, that have stronger censorship and things like that, but it could run amok very quickly. It can get, the cat gets out of the bag. Good luck getting it back in. It's just
Exactly. You can never get it back in. That's the
right.
bottom line. Like,
yeah, and you're playing with fire.
Yeah.
And
you,
I mean, Isaac Asimov wrote about it years and years ago with the iRobot series, and just like the rules and what if these things don't adhere to that? Like what's going to happen then? Like how are you stopping that? That thing is like when that whole Boston Dynamics video came out a couple of years ago. That robot taking doing flips and jumping, and like a guy taking a crowbar to it and it just not going down. Like that doesn't frighten anybody. I'm not excited. I'm like, wow, look at that thing. I'm like, that guy's hitting that thing. It's not going down. It's doing. I can't do a backflip even in my heyday. Like. No one's terrified of that, huh? What's the purpose of that thing doing a backflip? Why?
You can't take Ghidorah's head and power Godzilla with it because it's going to turn on us. Okay, it's just the reality.
You can't understand.
But we're just idiots. We're just idiots, and that's unfortunately the reality of it. Is every one of these stories ends in our downfall. The machine will learn that we are flawed, and once the machine learns that we're flawed, now I'm getting all like conspiracy theory.
Yeah, you are. Jeez.
But once the machine, we are flawed. Our sense of choice and compassion, all the beautiful things that make us human that I wouldn't trade for all the money in the world, makes us flawed.
Oh,
and when you have a machine brain, you see those as weaknesses, and that makes you a problem. And that's frightening because
you're a confounding variable that needs to be taken out.
Now,
so, I mean, yeah. I don't think so.
I don't want. I mean, it's not a Nirvana song. It fascinated me how it sounded, and me, like I like to stir the stuff a little bit. So by saying I like it, I know I get some attention on it, and I didn't dislike it. I listened to it like halfway.
It's all right. Does it sound like Kurt at times? Yeah, and then there's times like, wait a second, this sounds like a very unpolished raw demo that someone tried to rush out. But the drums are not Dave, so well done. AI, you couldn't replicate that. I mean, that's
because Dave is too human. That's the thing. AI can't have that human.
Right, and the bass isn't there either. The bass is it's almost non-existent. Like it doesn't come in the way that Chris would. So
yeah.
It's so
all of the pick on his big.
But again, this is the beginning though. So like, so what? That this is the first foray. The most mainstream foray into it. Because like you said, you could go to Google and say these things and can create. So this is the first mainstream foray with an iconic band creating something from nothing, from a person that's no longer with us and a band that's no longer together.
Right.
So you have a very small sample size that this thing created from. So think about what it will do in just 2 years' time, 2 months' time.
I'll be very, very frank here, and I usually am Rob, so this is a special occasion where I'm going to be frank. I think that there's already
jokes out my teeth, Dick.
I'm a dad. Can you tell? I think that
Can I be frank? Can I still be Garth?
I think there's already pieces of music out there that have machine parts on it, and we don't know.
Oh, for sure.
In the dance music space, I think there's stuff happening. Sam just posted something on Instagram as Ariana Grande in the studio layering vocals. She had auto-tune on her mic going into the machine. They put the plugins into her voice, and she's a phenomenal singer. Remember, she was my singer in my super group, or one of them.
Yep.
But it's there. There's technology is in our lifetime, technology in the past decade, technology has increased at a rate that is not seen in human history. You know, give or take, whatever. It's my Rob logic.
Yeah, that we know of, right? I mean, there's so much. I mean, because you think about it, like people always say that, like, this is the most advanced we are. And maybe that's true. I tend to disagree because you don't know. Because you think about it, like your car, doesn't matter what kind of car you have. You can have one from the 50s that's solid metal. In 1,000 years' time, that thing is just rust and dust, right? Like, everything disintegrates except for stone. So, like, that's why you have things like pyramids still lasting. So, you clearly had an advanced civilization that create things that we can't create today. So, who's to say that they also didn't have? You just wouldn't have remnants that would withstand the erosion of time
Sure.
the way stone would. So, they could have had, other ways of technology. You don't know. But yeah, you're absolutely right, man. I mean, you think about like when the internet really boomed when we were younger, like the dial-up, like, and then someone pick up the phone and like you're kicked right off, to what you have a computer in your hand now, and you're just, I literally can get something instantaneous. Like right now, it's like fact checking myself about the 91. I was like, I think it's 91, but don't. And I immediately just put in Nirvana. Never mind. I didn't even finish it. Never mind. Came right up. I click on it, so it's user dummy friendly. Like I don't have to learn how to spell. Like it's just.
On my way to work while listening to a podcast, I purchased 2 books while driving. Like and a thing of cinnamon to put in my coffee. Like it's
yeah.
If it's used for the right reasons, I think it can be fantastic. I think we have better things to do with our time and energy than replicate poorly music of deceased musicians, because I think, we might be getting to a place where we can mimic a voice, and even like with the deep fake technology, where they're putting faces on people and making people say and do things they never did. Like that's a whole nother scary world.
Yeah.
But when it comes to a musician, and this was like sort of what they were saying in this talk, which now is 2 years ago at this point. No, a year and change ago. So it's already probably cycled
ancient
3 times
history.
through, right? But they were saying like someone like Dave Grohl was a prime example. As a drummer, there's so many nuances in his playing and such raw, animalistic, just Grohl
energy. Yeah.
It's hard for a machine because what he's doing isn't right. And how do you tell the machine to do just a little bit of wrong, but not all the way wrong? It can only do right or wrong. There's a variable, and then when that variable is an invisible line that's constantly moving, I just don't know if it's there yet, or maybe it is. And we don't know. I don't know.
Right. Yeah. So what you know and what you have in your hands is you're like, wow, this is advanced just from last year or 6 months ago. Think about what you don't know about.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Right.
Dude, have you ever tried one of those Oculus Quest things yet?
No.
Okay. So like you and me, man, like we're from the same era. Like VR, it's like, okay.
I've heard it's amazing. I've heard it's absolutely
my God.
breathtaking.
So submersive, you can't tell.
Yeah.
And that's like, I was so dismissive of it. Then Jack got one for something, and he's like, I want to bring it over. I'm like, no, VR is dumb. Dude, it is not dumb. We did like a dress.
Oh no, I wouldn't be dismissive of it. I would want to try it. My 80-year-old aunt tried it and she was in tears at like how
you're there. You're in the world.
Yeah. She's just taken back. She's not expecting it to be that. Think about it. Like, I mean, that's not that long ago, Why can't we get a hoverboard though? What the hell?
I don't know. There's this guy on YouTube who makes all things from movies, and he made a hoverboard with these magnets that it worked.
Yeah.
It's like catching fire.
Right. Now we're finally talking about getting trains here, like in Europe. It's like it's about damn time. I want to zip across to the West Coast in like a blink of an eye. That'd be great.
Next time on Alex Jones.
Oh no.
InfoWars.
No, I mean technology is great, and like you said, if you use it properly, just like anything, like you could do amazing things with tools. You could do terrible things with tools, right? Like,
hey, we're talking about Tool. I see what you did there.
See how I brought it back? Wow.
Hey, I wonder if Tool could use an algorithm to not make stupid songs with giant, weird time signature changes.
You got to stop being so disrespectful and mean-hearted to these bands. What if one of them were to watch this show and be like, look at this dick?
Well, I'd be happy they were watching it. I give them tremendous compliments, and I have them tremendous compliments. You know what? If I met Maynard in real life, I'd say, number 1, your wine is delicious. Number 2, get out from behind the curtain. I paid to see you sing a song. That's what I would say. Exactly in that order. Because Caduceus wine is delicious. Get out from the curtain. I paid a lot of money to be here. I want to see your face. I want to see that you're actually singing. I want to see your silhouette. It's just silly.
Yeah.
That's how I feel.
Well, I get what they're trying to do artistically. I mean, because you see, Trent does that with Nine
Yeah,
Tails, but like it's balanced well. It's just when the curtain does come down, you've had a whole show of him, and like they're doing different visuals. I think with Tool it becomes a little bit too heavy in one area. It's not well balanced.
if I want to see art, I'm going to go to the Met. But if I'm at Madison Square Garden, I want to see a rock show. That's what I'm paying for. I want to see the band. I don't want to like. I remember Brendan saw them because he's a big Tool fan, and
Huge.
they did a show somewhere where they did like a live hidden track where like the show was over and then they came back like 20 minutes after the show ended or something.
Mm.
I was like, that's just stupid. I'd already be on my way home. I might not even stay for the last song. Like, come on.
I wonder how many people did stay.
Oh, it's just silly. It's probably on YouTube. It could even be a wives' tale. I'm not sure. Anywho, who are we talking about next week?
The Black Crows, Shake
Black
the Money Maker.
Crowes. I got that one on vinyl. That's a good record. That's gonna be fun. You know, it's really cool. Is like the arc of what we're doing here is we had whatever. Oh, yes.
Yes.
So we had Alice in Chains, yes, Tool, and then Black Crows.
Here, I'll pull up the
different bands, very different records.
So episode 41, What's the Story Morning Glory with Oasis. Then we had Facelift by Alice in Chains, Fever to Tell, yes. Now we're doing Undertow with Tool. And next week, I don't know anything about the Black Crows. I feel like I missed that train. So that's why I know they're huge. You know, a lot of people like them. So I'm excited to test this album out and really dive into it and feel it out.
Me too. I think it's going to be a fun one. I think.
Did you buy the record just for this?
Of course I did.
Of course you did.
I'm invested in it. Hey, audience, I care.
Of course you do. I'm
care.
poking fun at the bear.
Who? James? He's not here.
Ah, James, you're watching, buddy. Oh, maybe not. You're.
I don't think he is watching. Which is like, you have enough internet to watch us,
right?
Anyway, I digress.
All right, brother. This is a good hour and 6 minutes. Not an hour. Was it an hour?
It has been. Stop it. Who's that? It's been 1 hour and 6 minutes and 42 seconds.
All right. Well, this has been fun, man.
Yes, thank you. You know, we got old school record talk for you guys right here. We should have been on Instagram, is what we should have done.
Record talk on Instagram.
It's where we talk about records.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. I was just making sure. That's what. Yeah.
Record talk.
Record, press record, start talking. That's what we do.
There you go,
all right.
brother.
Hey,
Play us out.
See you guys next time.
Oh, wow.